Yo, what it do, YouTube? It is your boy Marcus. We're back with another video. Today we got my guy Lucas with me, and this is pre-recorded, but this is Halloween Day edition. And Lucas, you mind telling us your costume or what you're wearing?
Chick magnet.
Show the chicks. Show the chicks.
Yeah, everyone loves the chicks, you know? Respect the chicks. Love the chicks.
Very original, Lucas. I'm glad we got the sense of humor out of the room because we gotta get serious right now, man. This is about our Colts. Our Colts right now is not looking so good. The AFC South is probably pretty much wrapped up at this point, but we're not gonna hold out. I mean, it's still possible, but hey, it is what it is at the end of the day. We did just lose to the Titans in a close one, overtime game. I don't think any Colts fans expected overtime. A lot of people expected a close game, but we wound up going to overtime, but wound up losing as well. In my personal opinion, I think the offense was the reason we lost. Of course, people may say the defense as well, but I think our defense did pretty much good enough to give us multiple chances, but we just couldn't succeed. Let me know your thoughts. We're going to go offense first. Let me know your thoughts about how the Colts offense played against the Titans.
Well, offensively, there's plenty of blame to go around. Starting off, of course, as it always does, Carson Wentz. Beyond just the turnovers, which there were two very important turnovers that happened, but he was not accurate today. Safe to say, he had several throws that were way too high for his receivers, and that the receiver would get, but it put them in bad positions. For example, there was a third down conversion where he threw it right to Doolin, but it was way up high. Doolin had to try and leap to catch it. He made contact with the ball, but he couldn't get it, and he was in a bad position, and he dropped it, so thus third down, had to punt it. There's several other situations similarly where he just sailed passes. One of them ended in an interception with Kevin Byard. There was plenty of other instances where he just was not accurate with the ball today. And unfortunately, that ended up costing us quite a bit in the end because with those turnovers, the big one, of course, was the game sealer. But also, I wasn't too upset about the first interception. I'll tell you this. It wasn't the worst case scenario. The worst case scenario is he takes that sack, it's a safety, and the Titans get the ball back with 1.5 minutes left to play, and the Colts only have 2 timeouts, so a first down wins the game. Game over. So he knew he had to throw the ball for any chance for the Colts to win, no matter what happens. Ideally, it would have been a completion. Also, ideally, it would have been an incompletion. Interception for a pick six is not what you ideally want, but at least it wasn't the worst case scenario. The Colts were able to get the ball back and still had a chance to tie the game, which they ended up doing, which I ended up winning a good $500 because of them doing just that. So I'll take that.
Yeah, not a bad idea.
Yeah. Pretty good bet for me.
Yeah.
But overall, beyond that, my biggest issue with the offense was the lack of run-pass balance. Jonathan Taylor averaged 4.3 yards per carry, which wasn't great for him, but that was still a very solid game. And he had several big runs negated because of offensive holding penalties, which really, really cost the Colts a lot, though we did have some breaks on the other side of the ball with some flags that got us first downs. We had 5 total of those, but there's also plenty of missed calls on both sides. So ultimately, though, the lack of the run-pass balance really hurt the Colts because Jonathan Taylor could have had a much, much bigger game had we ran the ball more. Would have made a lot more sense, would have taken a lot less pressure off of Wentz. He could have kind of stuck in his own zone, not have to play hero ball as much. But unfortunately, we had 51 Wentz attempts, which we do not want Wentz throwing the ball 51 times. He is a really solid quarterback still, but 51 times is not a good game script for him. We have an elite running back. Let's feed him the football and run the damn ball.
Yeah, man, I agree. That was just terrible performance, man, overall in general. I even mentioned the fact that we used the Wildcat play at the end of the game to tie it is one of the things we could have been doing since the beginning of the game. I mean, it's just getting the running the football in general was the biggest issue that Colts did not do. Like I said, Jonathan Taylor had the same pretty much almost the same amount of yards as Derrick Henry on less carries. So that should have showed you that Jonathan Taylor single-handedly probably could have beat the Titans by himself. Now,
Yeah.
this doesn't take any credit away from Michael Pittman Jr., 2 touchdowns nights, but it's just a simple fact that if we would have ran the football a little bit more, we could have beat them with their own medicine. But it's unfortunate. But moving on, it is what it is at the end of the day. Hopefully they get that figured out because we have a game on Thursday. But we'll talk about that later in the future. Um, Moving on, talking about this defense. The defense, for my opinion, I said was the sole reason we even had some type of fight left. Of course, people might bring up the pass coverage, in which we all know stinks. But I think the defense did enough to try to give the Colts a chance at life of winning this game, in my opinion, personally. Let me know your thoughts about the Colts defense against the Titans.
Colts defense, they were inconsistent to say the least. There were some aspects of the game that they were absolutely phenomenal at, in particularly, of course, the run defense. Now, Derrick Henry was playing with a injured foot or ankle. He took his cleat off at the end on the sideline and early in the game, so he was playing through some injuries, so he wasn't at 100%. But let's not diminish that the Colts defense suffocated him, injury or not. They allowed 2.4 yards per carry to the best running back in football. Now, that is a crazy great accomplishment. And Grover Stewart had a phenomenal game, just absolutely demolished running lanes, swallowing up blockers, and allowing the Colts linebackers to make plays when he couldn't. So I was very impressed for the interior push. We also were getting some pretty good interior pressure because of him and DeForest Buckner at times. However, the edge rush was not consistent. There were a few flashes with Tyquan Lewis early on before he got injured. Kamoko Toure was not very consistent at all in his pass rushes. Al-Qadim Muhammad had a good pressure late in the game that really, really made a difference, but ultimately it was too little too late, and there were way too many sets where Ryan Tannehill had all day to throw. And when we give Ryan Tannehill, or really any quarterback for that matter, time to throw in this defense with this much zone defense, they're going to be able to carve us up. And A.J. Brown was phenomenal at carving up the Colts zones. He found the soft spots everywhere, especially on out routes, hugged the sideline, and the Colts could do nothing to stop him. He had 11 targets, and 10 of them were receptions for 155 yards. We cannot be giving up that amount of efficiency to the obvious, clear-cut number one receiver for them. We knew that they were going to give the ball to him outside of Derrick Henry, and we couldn't stop him anyways.
Yeah, man, it's facts. It's just the little things, man. It's just stressful being a Colts fan, especially when we were up 14-0. Everyone just had that uncertainty of like, okay, this probably isn't going to last. I think we all knew that, but it was the fact that we were there. We had the game plan figured out. Everything was working solid. And then every time it's just that moment that the Colts just seem to collapse every single week. It's just like, do they not get enough of that? Like the front office, the players, the coaches, do they not get enough of selling leads or momentum? It's just a thing of, it's just starting to become normal for the Colts. It's like we're the modern day Atlanta Falcons. It's unfortunate, man. But it's like, I don't know. Do you have anything left to say about this? Because I've run out of ideas. Mike's muted.
There was one play that absolutely stood out to me, and that was the Tyquan Lewis interception. That was the big game-changing play for the worse for the Colts. Because before that, we were up 14-0. Ryan Tannehill had already thrown an interception before that. Derrick Henry was getting nothing on the ground. We were flying high, and we get that interception, and the stadium atmosphere was electric. Unfortunately, he fumbled it at the end. He was not down by contact, so it was a fumble. But George Odom was the one who recovered the ball at the end of the scruffle. And there was no clear and obvious answer of like who recovered the ball through replay. So it should have been Colts ball. But they did not rule the Colts ball. Titans got the ball back. And that's not excusing the blown coverage on the next play that resulted in an immediate 57-yard touchdown. That's not excusing it at all. But that was the big momentum shift that we absolutely could have put the game away for the most part with another field goal or even a touchdown to go up 21-0. There's
Yeah.
a whole different game script, a whole different game right there if we just put them away right then. Unfortunately, we did not get the turnover, and even more devastating, Tyquan Lewis is possibly out for the year. No word yet on his injury. It's way too soon at the time of recording, but he had a devastating injury, was carted off the field. He did not get up on his own power at all, and it looked like a possible leg injury, which can be very, very dangerous for the career longevity of these guys. So I'm wishing the best of luck for Tyquan Lewis. He was my breakout pass rusher for 2021, and he had a great game when he was playing, and besides the fumble. But ultimately, it's unfortunate, but that's the way that this game goes. It's a physical game, and sadly, the injuries do take up a toll on the body.
Yeah, they do, man. It's unfortunate, but yeah, like I said, another tough loss that we definitely could have won. But appreciate your insight on joining me today. You guys know where to follow him, I'm pretty sure. If not, Lucas, let us know. And I did get it right this time. Let us know where they can find you before we get out of here.
Well, they can find me at Robbins Lucas on Twitter. They can follow me also on thebluestable.com, where they can see both my writing and many other talented writers that we have, including a good friend of the show, Mason. So ultimately, follow us on Twitter. Check out our site. It has some wonderful content for you guys to enjoy.
All right, there you have it. Let us know in the comment section your thoughts about the game. Appreciate you for joining the show. Appreciate your insights. Appreciate the subscribers. If you haven't, like, comment, and subscribe on the channel. That's Lucas. This is Marcus. Chick Magnet, Lucas. Until next time, you've been culture shocked.